Hi, my friends. This is Cori. Welcome to the Diamond Painting Effect with Cori. Today we have another stitch with me, and the one I'm going to be working on today is my nativity scene. This nativity scene came from GBFKE. It is a 50 by 65 centimeter picture. I don't know if I said that right. Somehow it didn't sound right. It's 50 by 65 centimeters for the size of the entire picture, which is 191 stitches by 256 stitches. The color we're going to be working on today is this. I'm working on the night sky up here. It's color number 19, and color number 19 is 797, and that's this color right here. I think I just got through putting a knot in it. Okay, there we go. The way I'm going to start my thread today is the loop method. And we'll start over here. And I'm going to go ahead and start over here. I like to work from right to left. That's my natural way to, seems that's how I'd like to do it the best. So with the loop method, I come back over here, I fold my thread in half and then thread it, and then it makes a loop at the very end. And I will just loop it through, bring it through, and then start my stitching. How is everybody doing today? I hope you caught my whip parade. I showed you on Saturday. I posted a video on all the projects that I'm working on. I realized later that I should have put the pictures in of how these projects were supposed to look when they're completed, but I don't know why I didn't even think of that while I was doing it. But so that's why I was sure to show you when I started today what this is supposed to be a picture of. I have noticed that the palm tree, I thought, is coming out really good on this one. Up here in the corner here, hold on just a second. Over here, the palm trees. The wise men are, they're kind of okay because you know what they are, but they are just kind of shadows. There's not a great detail there. I'm hoping that maybe I ought to work on the faces of Joseph and Mary, see how those are going to turn out. But for now, I'm just going to work on the sky. One of the things that I think is kind of frustrating with some of these kits is, if you look, this stitch, the line, this is a pattern, it's not a stitch. And it just looks so much like what I'm stitching around it. It gets a bit confusing. This one isn't an exact match for color. Sometimes they are an exact match, and that really makes it difficult. You start wanting to cross things that aren't even supposed to be stitched yet. So I can tell my voice is weak today, and that means it's going to be a weak day. I'm just not going to feel much strength and stamina. I have already been into town. I had a doctor's appointment this morning to get the results of that vertigo dizzy test that I did last week. And I went last time. There was so much trouble with the sun when I got into Corpus and was heading east on I-37, which I always thought was heading south. But when you hit Corpus, I can testify that it is headed straight east. I tried to get there early today so I'd miss that. However, when I left the house here, it was still dark and it was very foggy. And so it was, the first half of the trip was slow because I just didn't feel comfortable going very fast in the fog as thick as it was. If it had been any thicker, I probably would have just waited. But I could see, I did feel comfortable driving. Didn't like it, but it was okay to drive. But when the sun came up, the fog cleared. But then the sun was right there in the east, guiding me down I-37. But I made it to my doctor's appointment just fine. I had planned to leave early so that, you know, I keep my stitching in the car. If you guys watched my video Saturday, you can probably guess where this is going. Somebody forgot that her planned getting there early and waiting and stitching, forgot that her stitching was all in the house now. So I got to the doctor's office early and had no stitching. So that was a bit frustrating. But I was able to, excuse me, I was able to take care of things that needed taken care of on my phone, and so that was kind of nice. Just have that time to focus on it. The news from the doctor, more tests. That's more tests. There was a problem with my eyes, the way my eye reacted to everything, and that indicates a neurological problem. I don't know if I should say it indicates or it could indicate. I don't remember how he put that. But the next step is to do an MRI of the brain to make sure there isn't something pressing on my nerves. And they didn't want me to leave the office until they had the MRI scheduled. So that'll happen in about another week and a half. And there is just this typical, I can't remember what they called it. He said a whole bunch of technical words that meant nothing to me. Both my ears do have a problem besides this other neurological problem, but each ear has a different problem. And some of it can be fixed. Some of it can be alleviated, but not fixed. Hold on just a minute. I'm going to pause so I can have a cough attack. My goodness, I have no idea what that was about. But I think it's over. Anyway, I do have vertigo. And I'm like, I guess there are some things they can do with physical therapy to help that. He says my brain needs to learn how to communicate between my two ears, and that I can be trained to get the balance back and all that stuff. So that means I'll be having to go to Corpus. I don't know how I'm going to pay for that. I really don't. But I'll need to go to Corpus. The physical therapy, I think it's physical therapy that he's sending me to. and they'll be contacting me and setting up appointments. And I don't know how many appointments that's going to take. But anyway, so at least there are some answers. There's still some questions to be explored. And so I told the doctor, I said, so now you believe me? And he laughed. He goes, I always believed you. We just needed to know what it was we were dealing with. But so that's that update. I did get an update on one of my biopsies came back clear. It's just something they want to watch again closely. And then I have 2 more biopsies that I probably won't get the result of those for a couple, probably midweek. I can't remember when my appointment was last week, but they said it would take a week. So maybe by tomorrow I'll know. I'm thinking. So that is how that is going. Over the weekend, I joined a Teams meeting with Ava over at Stitching in the Interlake, and I enjoyed that. I got to meet some of her subscribers, and one of them is one of my subscribers too. So that was fun to do that little meet and chat, and then she went and started her live, and a few more people joined over there for the live, and so that was kind of fun. And so that was my exciting weekend. Over the weekend I made tacos. That's something I don't do very often. I have to be feeling pretty good to tackle that one, because when I do tacos, I do it from scratch. I do buy the corn tortillas. I don't make the corn tortillas, but I buy the fresh corn tortillas and fry them up into the taco shells. And those are the best tacos in the whole wide world, are the ones that I can make. That my mom taught me and my oldest sister taught me. And my I don't know. My mom grew up in the lower Rio Grande Valley, so I think she had some way of knowing how to make tacos. But so that was fun. My brother-in-law, for a change, cooked a pork roast over the weekend, and he started pitching in and cooking. I don't know, I guess about once a week he's volunteered to cook, and so that's been kind of nice for me. It's usually a very simple meal, but that's all we need to cook anymore these days. If Stitching with Laura's watching, I'd love to hear how she makes her green chili. She may have shared that before, but I'm like not understanding it. I wonder if that's what we call white chili or chicken chili. But what do you guys think about that Chinese balloon, man? I, that's just, that whole thing's just bizarre. That the United States even let it happen is bizarre to me. And doing everything we could so we would get no information out of it. That that's just bizarre. This whole thing bizarre. And one of the things I've always wanted to do is on the property here. I have the space. I've wanted to have chickens. This is where up here is where I did my sample to decide if I wanted to do 2 stitches, 2 threads, or 3 threads. And it's been slowly coming out, so I'll just help it come out. Anyway, so I've wanted to try and raise my own chickens. I did make one attempt, but I didn't have adequate fencing, and it took the dogs about 5 minutes to kill all my chickens that time. And so I knew then the only way to have chickens around here would be to have adequate fencing, and of course that skyrocketed the price of doing that project, and so it never happened. And now I'm beginning to wish it had happened. I'm not out of eggs yet, but I've heard that the local stores here don't have any. I the Amish are here, so I think I'll always have a source of eggs, but I don't. Their eggs are expensive because they call them organic free range because they can, I guess. I've seen how they raise those chickens, and they're not free range chickens. Um, they just, I don't know, they just move their cage around, is what they do. So maybe the end result is the same. But they make a little pin, and they just rotate the pin around their the areas where they have them. That's a good way to keep your lawn mowed. Just move the chickens around. But trying to think what other events have happened. Nothing's coming up. The I think I may have messed up. I need to go look at my 1, 2, 3 stitch. Something occurred to me while I was watching somebody else who was talking about how they were doing a project that wasn't full coverage, and so they couldn't get the gridded fabric. Well, I had just assumed that that gridded fabric was wash away, that the grid washed away. And it just occurred to me that there probably are both types. And so I don't know which one I ordered. Because if I did order the kind that doesn't wash away, then I will have to get another fabric. And I guess I will have already started getting fabric for my hay if that's the case. I still haven't decided which heaven and earth design I want to do. I go and look and look, and I see things I like, but you talk about a bottomless pit. There are so many images over there. It and you can't just scroll through and look at them all. You have to go to each artist, and then after you look at the artist, you go in there, and there's some of them it's just a one page, but some of them have pages and pages and pages of images. And it's like you can't look at all of them. It's impossible to. And but I have seen some that are smaller that perhaps I would try on one of those. Like they have the story keeps. The story keeps are like a portion of a larger piece. So they just take an element from it and have that part charted. And like for instance, there's Amy Stewart's bookshelves. I think I'm not even gonna guess the name of that one yet. Uh, but every area of the bookshelf has a different theme. And so you can choose charts that are just one theme or one little section of that huge bookshelf. Or you can choose the whole bookshelf and sew on it for the next 40 years. Which some people have taken up that challenge. There are some Randall Spanglers on there. I was hoping they would have the one on the cat with all the cats on the desk, because if they had that one, I think that's the one I would choose to do. It's very bright colored, and I think I can't remember how many cats there are in that picture, but I got a diamond painting of that one, and I just thought it'd be fun to do that. I haven't done the diamond painting, but I thought it'd be fun to do that in a cross stitch. That would be a project that would take years and years to do. But I would be up for that challenge, I think. As long as I was able to. I would need to buy... I think if I did that, I'd want to get a Lowry stand or something like that, and get the wooden scrolls to work that on. Probably start on Q-snaps because I couldn't get the scrolls right away. And there's a lot I'm still learning about it, so as I'm watching other cross stitchers, learning more about that type of cross stitching, that will be helpful if I learn more before I jump into it. I know that it's kind of difficult because when you watch all these cross stitching people, they assume that you know what they're talking about. They throw out all these acronyms. I'm gradually learning them. Every once in a while, somebody will explain one or two items, and I'll actually remember it and pick that little bit up. Like a FFO and a FO. A finished object means you finished all the stitching on it, but a FFO means you've fully finished it by it's framed and ready to display. And that is one of the steps of cross stitching that kind of gets overlooked, is the finishing of it, finishing it up. So after you've done all the stitching, it's not really ready for display. It requires some more steps to get you there. And there are hundreds of ways to do that. So hopefully as I go along this journey, I can share what I'm learning with you. I'm still trying to figure out the whip go. I know the whip go is a way of working on all your projects throughout the year. And I kind of have the idea of it, but I don't know it enough. I can't figure out enough to actually do it for myself. I don't think I have too many projects that I need to do something like that. But it'd be nice to be able to really understand it. Maybe doing it is how you get to understand it. And I know I have y'all way over here on the right, and that's because I have been able to extend my phone out a little bit more to the center of my lap. And my habit has been to sew over here. And so now I can do this more in the center of my lap, and I haven't been doing it. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining me and all my new subscribers. It's so awesome to see you guys. I'm watching you guys join my channel, and my numbers have been growing, and I really appreciate you all, and I love your feedback. That helps me know what you guys, how you feel about what's going on, and I really do appreciate that. So I'm leaving. We're gonna shut this off. If you're gonna make a comment, you need to do it really quick because this video is about to end. If you guys are like me, I like to listen to the end of the video and then I start trying to make my comment real quick, and next thing I know, I'm making a comment on somebody else's video. So anyway, y'all take care. I want to see you again in the next one.